This is Jackets Debrief, a show about Columbus Blue Jackets, the National Hockey League, and part of the Hockey Podcast Network. Welcome to the show this week, everyone. It is a glorious, glorious Sunday. This is the best. I know that for what some of the content we're going to talk about in this show today, some people aren't like, what are you talking about, Frank? What's going on? Well, folks, today memories have been made. Life is good. We're going to get to the Blue Jackets stuff here in a second, but we're going to have a quick conversation about, first we're going to start with Beer of the Week. Then we'll have other conversations. Beer of the Week this week, Lagunitas Daytime IPA. It is a pretty light beer, 4%. It's an IPA. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to see how this tastes today. Good stuff. Definitely has a scent of an IPA, that little touch of sweetness that makes you think, ooh, very light. That bad boy. Poured with a lot of head on there. Very nice. Kind of sweet scent. Only got some head on that one. That's a good IPA. As longtime listeners know, I'm not a huge IPA fan, but that's a good IPA. Not too bitter. You get a little touch of that bitterness in the roof of your mouth, but not enough to overpower the beer. So that's good. All right. Where we're starting off this week, folks. The elephant in the room is the PLD stuff. The Pierre-Luc Dubois stuff. It is not great as far as being a Blue Jackets fan, as far as the PLD stuff. But we're going to start today by me sharing some stories, sharing some personal things to try and put this in perspective as far as how sports fits into our lives. Today, the Cleveland Browns clinched a playoff spot for the first time since I was a senior in high school. If you're watching the video version of this, you know that was a while ago. If you're not watching the video version of this, that was 2002. And I'm much older than I was then. It was glorious. It's a glorious thing. It is magical. It's great. I'm so excited for it. They're making a playoff appearance. This will be the first time the Browns have been in the playoffs since my daughter has been alive. And so there's this feeling of it being a memory. I remember, for those of you who are unaware, the Cleveland Browns have been bad for a very, very long time. And a couple seasons ago, after their season where they went 0-16, they did not win a game. I went down to a local bar for their Thursday night game against the New York Jets. The team was 0-1-1 at that point. And early in the game, then quarterback Tyrod Taylor got knocked out with a concussion. And I was down there with the local Browns backers, and which is just, so pretty much it was a bar full of Browns fans. And when Baker Mayfield came in, there was kind of this Bronx cheer. People were just kind of like, oh, yay, the first round pick. Oh, yay. And he throws his first pass and he completes it. And you hear, and there was kind of this feeling. We've all been in that place where some people, there's a little bit of a legitimate cheer, but at the same time, you're like, oh, yay, he's, we don't really know what we're getting into yet. And then he completes the next pass. And then they keep going down the field. Then they score a touchdown. And then they go for a 2-point conversion, run a version of the Philadelphia special where essentially it's a reverse play, and then they throw it to the quarterback who gets the 2-point conversion. The place is going nuts. It's crazy. And for me, that is my first real memory of watching a game Baker Mayfield played when I am rooting for Baker Mayfield. And so it's in my head. There's that memory with all those people. Let me tell you another story. couple of years back, took my daughter to a Blue Jackets game, and it was one of those like late November, early December ones where they were doing, hey, drop off a toy, we'll give you tickets to an upcoming game. And I thought, hey, that's cool. I'm a quarter season ticket holder, so maybe I'll get tickets to an extra game. That'll be cool. Go up. We give the toy. I mean, you don't give the toy to get the tickets, but they say they're doing it anyway, so whatever. You take the tickets. They give me the tickets. And I look at them, and I'm like, early January against the Oilers? Oh, okay. I mean, the Oilers probably aren't a big draw in Central Ohio, so I kind of get it. We go inside. I look up on my ticket app and realize, oh, I've already got tickets to that game. Oh, well, I guess I'll sell those because these are nicer because when the Blue Jackets give away tickets, they tend to be in the lower bowl. Lo and behold, when that January came around, that game against the Oilers was game 16, the final game of the win streak. And because I took my daughter to the game where I was like, hey, we're giving this toy. Oh, look, that's nice. They're giving us tickets. It was kind of like this, hey, you can come to the other game with me, the one where we do this. And I remember, because the Blue Jackets had a lead in that game in the third. And I remember me and her standing up in the, we're in the bottom, we're in the, I think it was section like 110 or 112 or something. We're pretty far down. And we're standing, and the whole building, 17,000 strong at this point, 18,000 strong, it's a sellout because they're on this winning streak, is all chanting, "We want 16. We want 16. And it was awesome. There was that energy, just that sheer energy, and you could feel it. And I love that memory. And that's a memory. My daughter was a couple years younger. I don't know how well she remembers it, but I'll remember it forever. And I'll tell her that story forever. Whenever we're watching the Jackets, when she's an adult and she's moved out of my house, and then she comes back sometime, or I go to her place and we're watching the Jackets for some reason, or we go to a game, if that ever comes up, or even some other time, I might tell her that story. Or if she has, someday if she has kids, I'll tell them that story. Why? Because it's this awesome memory. It's this awesome communal experience we get when we have sports. And that was what's happening right now for Browns fans. They're getting that moment. There was this cool moment on Twitter. I saw someone had taken video in downtown Cleveland because we're in the midst of this pandemic. So people aren't crowding into bars the same way they normally would. And they aren't at the stadium the way they normally would be. But there were cars driving around downtown Cleveland and people intentionally driving slower and just honking their horns and waving Browns flags out the door and out the windows. And that's amazing. That's wonderful stuff. That is why we are sports fans, for those moments. Like my Blue Jackets fans, we all remember the upset of Tampa. That was amazing. The 16-game winning streak. That was awesome. These are those communal moments we are sports fans for. And that's what you need to remember. We're not sports fans because, when we win a championship, that's when I'll be happy. That's not what this is about. Yes, you want to win a championship. You want your team to win championships. But you want your team to be part of what creates those moments. So because there's those awesome communal moments sports gives you that nothing else gives you. It's really this weird spontaneous moment of sheer exuberation and joy. It's so different from everything else. I mean, I know people. I mean, there are people. You go to a rock concert. It's a great time. You go to other types of shows. You are involved in stuff yourself. I mean, even as someone who is a Christian and studied religion, you have religion that does things. But because of that unique moment where it is spontaneous, no one knows what's going to happen. There isn't a plan. There isn't an act 3 that everyone knows what happens. There isn't, we're going to close with this hymn that everybody loves. It is completely unknown what will happen in that moment. When me and my daughter, when we got those tickets to that Oilers game, neither of us looked at each other, and I never would have looked at somebody and said, hey, the Jackets will be on a 16. They will be on a 15-game winning streak going into that. The whole league will be talking about them. You will see them on news broadcasts across the globe. Because I remember that they were on random, I think it was Turkish news stations were talking about the Blue Jackets because they were on that streak. It was crazy. It was amazing. So that's the context of sports fandom there. We're going to hear a quick word from our friends of the Hockey Podcast Network, and then we're going to talk PLD, because I feel like being in the right mindset to talk about what's happening with PLD, especially with a fan base like ours that is so jaded from the Artemi Panarin and Sergei Bobrovsky and Matt Duchene stuff. I really feel like us all being in the right mindset together is helpful for discussing this in a useful way. So I'll be right back in a second here, folks. I'm going to enjoy this lovely beer from the folks at Lagunitas. I'll be right back.
Did you know that your favorite band also loves your favorite hockey team? If you love hockey and you love music, you're going to love Bar Down Breakdown, a podcast that explores the crossover between alternative music and the sport we love, hockey.
Every NHL player wants to be in a band, and every band guy wants to be in a pro athlete.
With guests from all over the globe, come along with us as we interview some of the most captivating names in alternative music and talk about why we love hockey and how it's influenced us.
There was for a few seconds a thought of like, well, maybe we should wear Montreal jerseys, and the NHL was like, I think you should stay neutral. And we're like, yeah, you know what, you're probably right.
So tune in every Tuesday on the Hockey Podcast Network, where we'll have a brand new guest and a unique look into the bridge between hockey and music.
Welcome back, everyone. Dustin here. He knows what's up. Talking about the first playoff win the Jackets had at home. Dude was there. That's what this stuff's about. That's what we're talking about here. Another moment that comes to my mind when I was in high school, me and my younger brother, I was 16. He was, what would he have been? 14 at the time or so. We were at Cleveland Browns Stadium at the time for the first time the Browns beat the Ravens. And it was nuts. The place was nuts. People, as we were leaving, these two high schoolers who grew up very conservative were walking in the tunnels as Browns fans are chanting things about the Ravens that I will not repeat on the show. But we were cracking up and having a good time, and everybody around us was drunk. Neither one of us was anywhere close to drinking age or even smoking age. But again, that's the thing. That's the context here, folks. Sports isn't just, oh, I like to watch sports. I like to watch guys make awesome plays. I really get into the strategy. It's about those memories built around it. In that context, let's get into the news this week. So, comes out this week, and it all happened quick, that Pierre-Luc Dubois apparently had requested a trade out of Columbus. For Blue Jackets fans, this is heartbreaking, because we've wanted this number one center forever. And finally, things start looking like they're going in the right direction. We have our number one center in PLD. We've got a number two center in Max Domi. We've got one of the best top pairs in the game. We've got two good goalies. Things are looking up. This news hurts Blue Jackets fans. And I'm going to use this moment to say this. Guys, just because we don't like news isn't a reason to be like, Pierre LeBrun's a liar. Pierre LeBrun just makes stuff up to stir it up. No, that's not what these guys do. They have sources. They have people they talk to. They get information. Now, I don't know these guys' specific processes on how they do it. My guess is before they go with something like a trade request, they probably got it from one person and then confirmed it in a second place. That's my guess as to how that reporting process works. I know that when you're talking about things like confidential sources for newspapers for like big stories about things like politics or whatever, they have if they have somebody who's going to stay anonymous, that person's identity will be known to the publisher or to the editor. So the editor kind of can vet things and know things. So it's not completely out of left field. When they started saying it, there was at least some smoke there, which made me think, okay, either he wants a trade or he did at one point, or another team thinks he wants traded, that sort of thing. So the stories come out. Then today, the Blue Jackets do their media availability before the start of training camp. Jarmo Kekalainen says some very interesting things. One being, from his view, he says there wasn't any friction in the negotiations. Apparently, the contracts they offered a 2-year, 3-year, and 8-year contract to Pierre-Luc Dubois, which that tells you very specifically what the Blue Jackets want. For those of you not into the ins and outs of how hockey, free agency, and whatnot works, essentially, Pierre-Luc Dubois remains an unrestricted free agent for the next 4 years. What that means is that Pierre-Luc Dubois can negotiate with other teams, but essentially if he signs a deal with them, the Blue Jackets have the right to match it. He can't just say, I'm going to go sign with whoever I want. The Blue Jackets essentially have the right of first refusal. They can trade his rights. They can do all sorts of things. So that 2- and 3-year contract, the 2-year one that he did sign, essentially now that he's signed it, there's still 2 years after that the Blue Jackets have those restricted free agent rights where they can essentially, again, right of first refusal on any contract. The 8-year deal tells you that the Blue Jackets said, you know what, if you want to be here for a long time, we want you here for a long time. Now, I'm not sure. I mean, because when they asked Pierre-Luc about it, he said, you know what, we had private conversations. I want those to stay private. We don't know what his thinking is on why he wants out of Columbus. We don't know if it's about a specific person, about a specific coach. The amount of speculation that this is either something to do with Jarmo's negotiating style or that it has to do with John Tortorella is vast. And if that's how you want to think was what happened, there's lots of people who will engage in the speculation of that. I'm not going to. I don't know. There's 100 reasons somebody might want to move to a different city. Right now, the guy's 22. I mean, maybe something's going to happen. And so, I mean, that's how to think of it right now. Now, in context of how the show started, something I want to say. Let's say that Pierre-Luc Dubois does get traded. He does the remaining 2 years of this contract and we trade him. From a fan side, Pierre-Luc Dubois was here for the winning streak. Pierre-Luc Dubois was here for the upset of the Lightning. Pierre-Luc Dubois was here for that awesome series against Toronto in the bubble. Pierre-Luc Dubois will be here for whatever's happening in the next 2 years. There is a lot gained from just having a player like that on your team. What I'm going to say is going to be looking at the CBJ fan base and saying, guys, fifth line, take a breath. Relax for a minute. Pierre-Luc Dubois is under team control for 4 more years. That's a long time. Considering that this idea of him wanting to be traded just apparently came up in the last couple of months, things may change in 4 years. Now, they might not. But the fact that you have him under team control for 4 years means that if Jarmo reaches a point where he's like, I'm not going to be able to re-sign this guy to a long-term deal, you've still got time to trade him and get something. Or Jarmo may look at it and go, you know what? If I think I have the team that I think I might be able to win with, let's take the next 4 years and go for it. That's a possibility. And if it is, it's not the worst one. It's not the worst idea in the world to just go for it and try and win. But 4 years is a long time to sit back and wait. I mean, 2 years, what he's actually under contract for, is a long time. We don't know what's going to happen next. These guys, we don't know where they're at in their lives. Pierre-Luc Dubois is 22. He's 22. Who at 22 is like, yeah, this is where I want to settle for my whole life? Now, maybe he stays 2 years, and at 24, maybe life is different. I know the dude has a girlfriend. I'm not going to speculate if he gets married or whatever, but I mean, if somebody starts a family, maybe their ideas on things change. Maybe they don't. What I'm here to tell Blue Jackets fans is you got 2 years left that he's going to be on contract. So we know we've got 2 years of him right now. If anything, what this last year has taught us is not to take for granted what you've got in front of you. I remember the night when everything shut down for COVID, when there was that shutdown in the NBA. I had a hockey game on in front of me. It was Oilers and somebody, I forget who. But I had it on and I was watching it. My wife was like, do you actually care who's playing in that game? And I said, here's the thing. Once this game is over, I don't know when I'm going to see another hockey game. The games in the bubble, I had that same approach. I watched them and I was watching them and enjoying them. And I said, the reason I'm really into these is I don't know when I'm going to get more hockey. At this point, the Blue Jackets have a number one center. We're going to have him for this year. We're probably going to have him for next year. I would be stunned if he's traded before these 2 years because, again, Jarmo's got another contract after that to trade him. So if it was me guessing, if I was putting odds on it, I would say maybe a 5% chance he's traded before the 2 years on this contract is up. Considering he's got 2 more RFA deals after that, honestly, if he's going to get traded, it either happens after this 2-year deal or after this 2-year deal, he signs one more 1-year deal and then he's traded. That's what I could see. I would be stunned if we don't get 2 more years of him. I would be moderately surprised if we don't have 3. That's how I'll put my terms on it here. And if you're a Blue Jackets fan, here's the thing, guys. Let's take a look at where we're at with cap friendly. Because if y'all remember a few years back, there was an interview Jarmo Kekalainen gave where he said our window is just opening. Here's the window right now. 2 years from now, we have got to re-sign Max Domi, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Seth Jones, Zach Werenski, Elvis Merzlikins, Jonas Korpisalo. Those are the big pieces. That's not even counting that we have to do an Oliver Bjorkstrand deal before that. But those are the core pieces on this team, especially PLD, Jones, Werenski, and one of the goalies. This is the chance to go for something. Honestly, at this point, now that the information is out about the trade or the attempted trade, I almost wonder if ownership, if this team is close come trade deadline, if they're going to be more likely to say, let's take on salary. Let's do something if we need to, if we think we've got a chance to win this year. Because that's where it's at, guys, right now. Right now, enjoy it. This is a team that's made the playoffs 4 straight years. This is a team that, in the last 2 years, 2 years ago when they lost to Boston, Boston went on to the Boston going to the Cup final that year? I don't think they did. I think I'm thinking this wrong. But last year, they lost to the Cup champion. And that was after they had, the 5 overtime game, after having to played a crazy 5-game series against Toronto before. This is a team that's on the cusp. This is a team that if they make the playoffs, things can fall right. Look at who this division is this year. Who's the big bads in the division? You got Tampa Bay, you got Carolina. I think this Blue Jackets team can be either one of them in a 7-game series. Especially a 7-game series in hockey, because hockey is so crazy and weird and strange. So what I'm here to tell Blue Jackets fans is step back from that ledge, my friend. Anyway, step back from the ledge. Relax. Enjoy this season. This isn't the Artemi Panarin situation. This isn't, oh no, his contract is up at the end of the year and we have a decision we have to make right now. And then they go all for it right then. It's not that situation at all. This isn't even Rick Nash, because that's a good beer. The more I'm drinking this, the more I'm enjoying it. I'd recommend this bad boy. Again, Lagunitas Daytime. I would recommend that boy. All right. This isn't even the Rick Nash situation, because the Rick Nash situation, you had this star who had done years and years of losing. We don't have that with PLD. We've got a guy who had one contract negotiation, and now things seem to have changed a little bit. In what is the weirdest year any of us have ever lived in. I'm sure I say that, and then somebody's going to comment with, well, Frank, I had this one year, and the aliens came for me. I don't know what you would say. But again, this is a strange time. If you're Jarmo, something I've been saying for a long time now, if you listen to the show, when you have time, take it. You've got the number one center. I see other fan bases tweeting about what they want to trade to get PLD. It makes me laugh because whenever they tweet something, my first thought is, that's all you want to give us? No. Not when we have this much control for this long. If this was the last year he was an RFA and next year was going to be a UFA, maybe the story's different, but it's not right now. Let's take time. Let's get through this season. What's going to be a crazy shortened COVID season. Let's get to May and summer let's see how the world changes back once we start getting vaccines in arms. Let's see how that goes. Let's see what PLD is like when he gets back to a season of, hey, I'm going to have a season where I'm not living in Derek Savard's house. And maybe I can do things around town. Or maybe, we have dinner with the Atkinsons or the Felinos, or we do this or that. Maybe there's something different. Maybe this changes. Don't rush it. Take time. Take your time with it. And Blue Jackets fans, same way. Guys, sit back and relax. Maybe if you're going to get a PLD jersey, maybe go Werenski. I think Werenski's more likely they're going to have long-term. The Atkinson jersey is the one sure bet right now. Because we've got him through 24-25. So that's the one guy on the roster long-term. After that, maybe Nyquist, because we've got him for 3 years. But that's the one thing, as far as being a Blue Jackets fan, that I'd say be careful of, which is maybe don't buy a PLD jersey right away because you might not like it. Although I think Fanatics does that jersey assurance thing, so maybe that would be too big a deal. But yeah, calm down, guys. It's gonna be all right. Let's ride this bad boy out. It's been a curve, but let's relax. Let's see what happens. I think we're in an. It's not the best thing. I mean, obviously, that's not what you wanted to hear. You wanted it to be an 8-year deal and for PLD to be like, I love it. I want to be here forever. But let's take our time. Let's see what happens. And hey, if you're one of the people who gets to go to a game, if they let people go to games, or next season, do not boo him. Okay? Let's not do that. Let's not get into that stupid crap. Dude's 22. He's making decisions. He says, I'm going to be a good teammate. I'm going to come in and play. They got a contract done. Let's make him feel loved here in Columbus. That's the big thing. Make him feel loved. Now, that may not keep him, but again, there's no reason to be crappy because somebody doesn't always like your team. Again, for him, it's a job. It's a job for him. If you worked at I'm trying to think of something. If you worked at a Chipotle and you were like a manager at Chipotle and you're like, you know what? The franchisor for the McDonald's, he said he's going to offer me more money and this and that. I think I'm going to go work there. I'm not going to come up to you and be like, boo, I don't like McDonald's as much as I like Chipotle. I get it. It's a different feeling because he feels like he's rejecting us. It's not that. The guy's probably got other reasons that we're not thinking of. So be cool about stuff. Be cool, guys. One other thing before I go. If you're looking for some cool hockey stuff to wet your whistle as we get into as we wait for the season to start, as we get into the season to start it here, let's remember that, or something I wanted to throw out there. Obviously, you can always check out all the shows on the Hockey Podcast Network. We've got shows for all the teams. So if you want to get a little more acclimated to all the different teams that we're going to have in the Central, go to the hockeypodcastnetwork.com. You can see all the different shows there. We've got just shows for everybody. The other cool hockey thing I saw this week that I'd recommend to everybody, the website Aesthetics, which is all about uniforms and logos and all that cool stuff. They've launched a YouTube channel, and my initial impressions are I am impressed by it. It is very cool, very neat. Yeah, really cool. I'm a big fan of it. So it's a higher end quality finish than I thought it would be from what I've seen in the past there. But I thought it was really good. So anyway, guys, main takeaway this week, enjoy the experiences while they're here and while they're coming. Don't be too concerned about the PLD stuff right now because, again, we've got time. If anything, we've got time on this. So relax, guys. Stay safe out there. Enjoy yourselves. Have a nice beverage. Go Blue Jackets. And as long as they're in it, I'll say this until we're done. Go Browns. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for however you get into the show. And have a great night.
Please subscribe to the show, follow us on Twitter @JacketsDebrief, and thank you for listening.